Okay, guys, so this is just a continuation of my heat training video. So the first thing you want to do, as I stated before, is really evaluate your hair, and that is what's really going to help you determine, what stage you should start. The first thing you should consider is your past experience with heat and how heat affects your hair. Now, if you used heat before and it broke off your hair, I mean, the process may, one, either not be for you, or two, you may want to start off with a lower temperature setting, so as just to kind of warm up to it and just to make sure that you're not damaging your hair. Okay. um Second, you want to do like an analysis of your hair to try to determine where you fit in. So like the things I mentioned before, as far as like your texture, how thick your hair is, the condition of your hair, how fast your hair grows, are all things that are going to determine where you should start. So I use myself for example. Okay, I have very thick, very highly textured hair, and it's natural, so it's not really chemically treated. So therefore, my hair it's probably gonna need a little bit of effort to heat train it. Also, it grows really fast too, so that means I'm probably gonna have to do it a little bit more frequently. So because of all these things, and this is from experience after experience, I wouldn't recommend anybody else do this. Again, I do not recommend that you guys do what I do. I'm just providing you the information to help you get started. But I heat treat my hair at the maximum heat, 450 degrees, because that is where it works for me. Because again, I have highly textured hair, I have very thick hair, I have natural hair, and my hair grows very fast. So I heat train about once every week or every 2 weeks at 450 degrees. Okay? And when I say I heat train, I don't want you guys to think that I do my whole head. No. As you've seen before, my hair is already trained. I'm happy with that texture. So when I say I heat train, that means I'm only hitting the roots and only hitting something or the hair that, that I would like to change. Okay? So that's just me, for example. I'll use another example. I have a sister who has her hair is not very thick at all. It's very fine. I'm not sure how fast it grows, but I'll assume it grows, similar as mine. For someone like her, I would recommend, to start off at the lower temperatures between 200 to 75. Those are just some examples that you can use to kind of gauge, where you should start. So again, finer, thinner hair, lower temperatures, coarser, thick hair, higher temperatures. Okay? And like I said before, you want to analyze the condition of your hair. If you have like bleached ends, or if your ends have a little bit of a chemical on there, but you want it a little bit straighter, then you definitely want to make sure that you're going with the lower heat temperatures once you get it there, which would be a faster probably than the rest of your hair. Just keep in mind that you're not going to want to use high temperatures on any part of your hair that you feel is at the appropriate level of trainedness. Okay, and also keep in mind your goal. You should determine your goal and how heat trained you want your hair to be, and that's just going to really determine how you want to go about heat training your hair. For example, if you only want a little bit of loosening of the curl and you want to make sure that your hair is not damaged, then you're going to want to do lower temperatures and maybe less frequently. Now, if you want a change quickly, you may want to go with a little bit higher temperatures more frequently. Get me? Gotcha. Cool. And I already kind of touched on this, but then you want to also take into consideration the time frame that you want this to happen in. So me, for example, I like to keep just this small little half-inch of hair. That's it. I don't want 2 or 3 inches of my hair texture. I want the very minimum amount of my hair texture. So that is why I'm gonna train more frequently to ensure that I keep just that little bit of curly roots. Okay, so now I'm going to break down the process of how I heat train. Okay, and basically, you want to heat train on freshly washed hair is usually the best way to go. What I usually do is when my hair is wet, I'll put on a heat protectant, and as you guys already know, I'm using the moisture block, the Sombrano. And so I'll apply that on my hair, and sometimes I will blow dry it, and sometimes I'll air dry it. It tends to be a lot easier for me if I blow dry it. So then I just usually lightly blow dry my hair, just so that the texture is a little more consistent. I'm not trying to get it straight or anything. I just want it to be a little bit more consistent. After that, what I do is I take like a small little section of hair. And this is another reason I like to do it on freshly cleaned hair, because then you can see the difference between the hair that you're happy with the texture with, and the hair that's like freshly coming out of your head. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm only doing the roots of the hair. So the rest of the hair I'm not gonna do at the time. I'm just gonna do my roots at the higher temperature. Like I said before, I use 450 degrees, and I start off with a number of passes. Now, beginning of my journey, I start off with 10 passes, and now I've moved up to 20 of the hair. Now, for you guys, I recommend starting off with 5 to 10 passes. Depending on your hair, of course, the finer your hair, the thinner your hair, the less passes you want to do. A little more resistant your hair, you can probably go up to the higher passes. So that's what I do. So I'll take whatever section of hair that I want to train. I'll go over it. However many times I like. For me, it's 20. For you, it may be 5 or 10. Go over that area. Okay, and now with this, we're only doing the roots. We can go back later for the length and do that, which will be a lot easier, and you can go in bigger sections. But for this, we want to go in small sections and just hit that part that we want to train. Okay, let's see. Believe it or not, that is all I wrote down. So I guess I'll just wing it from here. For me, I usually see doing this results. Again, I'm using high heat and a lot of passes, but with this, I usually see results after maybe the 3rd or 4th time that I do it, and I recommend the same for you guys. No matter if you decide to do it once a month or once every few weeks or once a week, I recommend seeing a significant change or a change in your hair by at least the 4th time that you do it. If you're not seeing changes in that amount of time, then that may mean that the heat you're using isn't quite enough, and you may consider either 1, increasing the temperature and doing the same amount of passes, or 2, just increasing the passes to your hair, and then see how that works. And of course, I recommend working your way up. Even if you do feel like your hair is resistant or very thick, I still recommend that you start off at least at the 375 at a maximum, and then work it up, because we don't want to damage our hair. The purpose of this is, to just gradually change the hair, and that's what we want to do. So we want to gradually work our way up to that. And once you figure out what's right for you, there'll be plenty of time to get the hairstyle that you would like. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I will be making a video so that you guys can see from start to finish exactly how I train my hair. It's very, very simple, even though I know it seems like I made it complicated. It's not. The hardest part is just figuring out, what temperature to use on your hair, and then you're good to go. So that is it. I'll be posting this video today, and yeah, hopefully that provided you with some information, and that's it. So you guys have a good day, and happy growing.